not only in Brussels that the balance of power is changing. In football, Real Madrid has overtaken Manchester United as the most valuable club in European football. That's according to a new report out from accountancy firm KPMG. The Spanish giant has been valued at more than €3.2 billion, overtaking Manchester United for the first time. But English clubs continue to dominate the top 10, holding 6 out of the 10 spots. Well, Alistair Sanford is in the studio for more on this. Morning to you, Alistair.
Morning, Belle.
Real Madrid, Spanish football club, obviously topping the polls. But the rest of the table seems to be dominated by European clubs, doesn't it?
That's the real story here. Yes, there's a total domination of English clubs, 6 in the top 10, 9 in the top 32. This despite the fact that the Champions League, for instance, has been won for the last 5 years by the Spanish clubs Real Madrid and Barcelona. So behind Manchester United, yes, we've got Real Madrid at the top now, leapfrogging Manchester United. Below that, you've got just a succession of English clubs, Manchester City in 5th, and then come all the 4 English clubs who are going to be in this week's European finals, so Chelsea, Liverpool, Arsenal and Tottenham. The big 5 European leagues still dominate. So you've got beyond England, France, Germany, Italy and Spain. In France here we've got Lyon, who are the fastest growing club, partly I think due to the success of the women's team who've won the Champions League now 4 years in a row. But more countries are represented than before. We've got 9 countries overall in the top 32. That's largely due to the arrival of Celtic for the first time, where the Scottish club have just won a famous treble of domestic trophies. How is all this calculated? KPMG, the accounting firm, look at what they call the enterprise value of the clubs. That takes into account factors such as the profitability, the sporting potential, the stadium ownership, the broadcasting rights, and not least their popularity on social media. It's not performance in Europe on the pitch, although obviously success there does have an impact. But as I say, the big story here is the success of English clubs, who overall are worth more than 40% of the overall total.
And I feel like we talk about this year upon year upon year, the amount of money in football, and it's sort of almost disgusting how much money there is in football. With this year's, $1 billion, I mean, the figures are astronomical. Are we any closer to having a reckoning on the value of football?
Well, there are different ways of looking at this. Yes, there is more money in European football than ever before. The top 2 clubs, Real Madrid and Manchester United, are now worth more than €3 billion each. The football business is growing significantly faster than the European economy generally, up by 9% now year on year for the last 3 years. KPMG says that you contrast to the European stock exchanges, which are all down. It reflects the transition of football clubs now to big global brands. They're media and entertainment companies. The success of English clubs, of course, doesn't mean that it's reflect the success of English football as such. It's just that they've had a successful business model now for the last 25 years. But most of the clubs, of course, are foreign owned and foreign managed. But is it really successful overall? There are other reports, one, for instance, just published a month ago, which suggests a different conclusion. It highlights big inequality between the Premier League clubs in England, for instance, and also highlights the fact that the value of those clubs, it says, has decreased because when you take into account booming players' wages and offset that against lower profits, they're not doing so well.
All right, well, thank you very much. Alistair Sanford there, talking football with us.